Imagine you decide to do some digging in the backyard. It might be that gross. Or maybe you'll end up here and get your hands on that juicy safe. We've got it all. Machines and weapons no one has touched for 100 years. Ancient artifacts. And even an abandoned Su-17. So, your best 30 minutes of the day starts now. Metal detectorists digging through an abandoned property once owned by drug traffickers pried open two buried safes and found a cache of rusted firearms tangled together in mud. These guys brought an abandoned ground sunken garage in Moscow for $17,000 and uncovered a Japan-customized Chevrolet Corvette C3. This relic is complete with wide-body fiberglass, quad headlights, and a Targa roof sealed away since 2007. Urban explorers visiting a neglected house in Keystone Heights were shocked to find a rusting, massive machine weighing over 45 tons. A Vietnam-era M47 Patton tank just sitting on the random property. These urban explorers near Los Angeles descended an abandoned well and found a hidden chamber below, complete with railings, wooden supports, and reinforced walls, a possible fallout shelter built where nobody would think to look. On the Eastern Front, a detectorist unearthed a buried cache of over 40 World War II-era firearms dating to 1945. A mixed assortment of German K98s, MG42s, and foreign rifles like Mosins and Carcanos. This man exploring an abandoned property found an underground bunker packed with vintage Mercedes-Benz. Over 70 by his count, sitting frozen in dust since whoever collected them disappeared. Could a simple school field trip ever lead to a legendary historical treasure? While exploring a farm in Norway, 6-year-old Henrik Mortved discovered a 1,300-year-old Viking-era iron sword poking from a plowed field. He retrieved a 1-meter rare artifact, which experts now preserve at the Museum of Cultural History in Oslo. A relic hunter dug up a corroded Faust Patron, the original German anti-tank launcher from 1943, only 98.5 centimeters long, but capable of punching through 140 millimeters of armor. Rhett Nankervis spent 27 years searching for the oval window VW Beetle his father once owned, until a Facebook message finally led him to it. It was buried inside a blackberry thicket, but now will get a second life. Buried for 30,000 years in Yakutia's permafrost, mammoth tusks are surfacing as the frozen ground yields its ancient secrets. Ivory so well preserved by Siberia's deep freeze, it looks freshly unearthed from the Pleistocene. In Sprackers, New York, a lucky rockhound unearthed this massive, doubly terminated quartz crystal known locally as a Herkimer diamond. These unique, naturally faceted specimens formed in vugs approximately 500 million years ago. Drop a comment telling us if you'd keep this one on a shelf or sell it. A Slovak diver stumbled upon and explored a fully submerged World War II bunker. Its rusted machinery and control wheels are still intact underwater, an unusual dive site preserved by decades beneath the waterline. This rare Soviet Ka-26 helicopter, one of only 816 produced, has sat abandoned for 5 years in a village field, yet remains remarkably intact with its iconic coaxial rotors, and this dedicated team believes that relic of the Cold War will be able to fly again. It was the last dive of the day when the diver, Drake Nicholas, hit something with his knife off the Florida Keys and didn't believe what he'd found. A 10-kilogram silver bar from the Apocha, a Spanish ship lost to a hurricane in 1622. Encrusted in 4 centuries of coral, it's worth an estimated $100,000. The next metal detectorist crawling through summer woods unearthed this corroded Walther P-38, Germany's standard World War II firearm, adopted in 1938 to replace the costly Luger P-08. Its checkered grip still recognizable beneath decades of rust. Counting out the register at his Titusville burger spot, owner Rob Buffalo spotted a $1 bill. Not a regular one, but signed by 4 STS-27 astronauts, survivors of a classified 1988 shuttle mission that nearly ended in disaster on re-entry. If you have spotted that signature before handing back the change, smash that like button. This find is in Cat Stair Canyon near Lake Powell, Utah, where locals once stacked dozens of 1950s through 1970s automobiles 8 to 9 cars high to reinforce the roadbed above. And such an unconventional fix is still visible today. Wild fix, right? Subscribe so you don't miss the next roadside oddity we track down. A metal detectorist on the Eastern Front recovered this personal pocket watch, discovered buried in soil and forever frozen at exactly 12 p.m., likely lost during World War II. The next lucky guy's a storage unit auction buyer who cracked open a dresser's hidden compartment and found $5,000 in cash, along with several rings. A jackpot tucked away inside furniture nobody thought to check twice. By pure chance, the drone operator found a 1974 Camaro Z28 resting 17 meters deep in Maine's Sebago Lake, empty except for an old tent, its plates gone and VIN rusted nearly unreadable, likely lost when it broke through winter ice decades ago. During a house move, a forgotten guitar surfaced in a British attic after 50 untouched years. It turned out to be John Lennon's 1964 Framus Hootenanny, the 12-string he and George Harrison played. Julian's Auctions confirmed it by matching the wood grain to old photos, and now it's heading to auction, expected to set a new record for the most expensive Beatles guitar. Off Beaufort, North Carolina, divers raised a 891-kilogram anchor from the wreck believed to be Queen Anne's Revenge, the famous Blackbeard's flagship, lost in 1718 and now discovered nearly 3 centuries later. This urban explorer in Switzerland found a hidden bunker entrance disguised near a forest cabin, leading down into a maze of glow-marked corridors, the kind of civil defense shelter common across the country. Outside Quito in Ecuador, a rusted car sits wedged high in a eucalyptus tree, and even the person who discovered it couldn't explain how it got there, leaving locals to puzzle over the mystery themselves. Got a theory on how it got up there? Drop it in the comments. We want to hear it. Here, a magnet fisher pulls this Soviet 76mm anti-aircraft shell from a riverbed. Its base still stamped 1941. A round once fitted with a time fuse that crews set by hand to detonate at altitude. An urban explorer found a seated bunker hiding a rusted Fiat-badged race car alongside a vintage breakdown assistance truck, both abandoned mid-restoration. their interiors frozen exactly as the last mechanic left them. A metal detectorist pulled this corroded blade from a forest floor, likely a 19th century infantry tessac, a sword-sized fighting knife about 70 centimeters long, once issued to soldiers as both a weapon and tool. On a quiet hill near Nara, Japan, was discovered a stone too strange to explain. Matsuda no Iwafun is a single carved rock measuring 11 by 8 meters and standing 5 meters tall, with 2 square chambers cut into its top. Its purpose remains unconfirmed, though one theory ties it to a nearby ancient burial mound as an abandoned tomb chamber. Archaeologists at Croatia's Zakotorak necropolis on Pelješac unearthed a second Greco-Illyrian helmet dated to the 6th century BCE, found upright wedged between stones near burial mounds, a marker of ancient Illyrian power and status. Is this a fossil, dude? Paleontologist Federico Agnolin said it live on stream. Yeah, he'd found a 70-million-year-old dinosaur egg in Patagonia, likely from a carnivorous theropod with a whole nest nearby. Metal detectorists digging a World War II disarming pit found 4 buried German helmets. Then one mess tin surfaced with a name scratched into it: W. Arnold, the soldier who once carried it into battle. A century after World War I ended, French farmers still plowed up unexploded shells every year. Officials collected roughly 900 tons annually, part of what's known locally as the Iron Harvest. This Minnesota mechanic worked on a 2015 Ford Edge and found something stuck where the airbox should sit: a leather wallet wedged under the hood. It belonged to Richard Guilford, a Michigan Ford assembly worker who'd lost it on the line back in 2014. Inside, his cash and old gift cards had survived 150,000 miles and 11 years before the mechanic tracked him down and mailed it home. Debbie bought a suitcase at a Nashville area yard sale for $5 or $10. Months later, packing for a trip, she pulled out a red scarf and a black pouch holding a diamond engagement ring soldered to its wedding band, plus David Yurman pieces likely worth tens of thousands. She's now hunting for the rightful owner, suspecting it may have come from an estate sale. A visitor to an aircraft hangar found a stripped Yak 52 aerobatic trainer. Its 360 HP Vedeneev radial engine still mounted, one of 1,800 built for Soviet pilot training since 1976. Hidden behind a wall since the early 1900s, this cast iron safe survived a fire and held decades of untouched receipts from the unknown George A. Crozier grocery store, rolled away exactly as the clerk left them. Old paperwork over gold and jewels? Let us know in the comments if you have been disappointed opening this one. Welcome to 1988, when the Howley family used old maps and a magnetometer to locate the steamboat Arabia, sunk in the Missouri River in 1856, buried 14 meters beneath a Kansas cornfield with a true 220-ton time capsule of the Wild West. Renovating their home, a family pulled back the ceiling tiles and found a hidden tin jar. It was stuffed with roughly $500 in 1980s bills, tucked alongside an old wallet stripped of any identification. On the Lulworth firing ranges in England, decades of decommissioned Cold War-era tanks, including Conquerors and Centurions, were discovered abandoned and left as gunnery targets since the ranges opened back in 1917. Kaysville's Body Smalley couldn't sleep, so at 11:30 p.m., he pulled out an old trail map. By morning, he'd found the $25,000 chest at Patsy's mine, solving 7 years of clues in 3 weeks. Renovators nearly celebrated finding $22,000 in their wall. Turns out it was just a 1922 Coleman State Bank calendar bragging about its own capital and surplus, doing double duty as insulation. A fisherman on Lefkada found something in a sea cave he wasn't expecting. An armed Magura-class drone boat rigged with explosives and 3 live detonators still drifting through Greek waters. Here the boys spotted a ship that his mom thought was fence debris, but it was a 15-meter hull section dated to the late 1700s, still bore copper tacking and Roman numerals. Somehow, a gold wing-style motorcycle ended up perched in a tree above a parking lot, high enough that onlookers just stood there staring up, completely stumped. This 1958 Jensen 541R sat rotting for 40 years, one of only 43 ever built with the rare high-performance DS7 engine. Such a British relic was too fragile to tow. Its rescue required custom-built steel skis slid under each wheel. Steve Thurber found a green bottle on Tofino Beach with a note still sealed inside. It was written by Earl Willard in 1906, thrown from the steamer Rainer mid-voyage from San Francisco to Bellingham, and had been drifting ever since. Inside a long-abandoned Soviet aircraft hangar, explorers found an Su-17 fighter bomber untouched for decades. Its wings still swept, its paint layered with graffiti and dust, waiting for a restoration crew. Behind a boarded-up wall at William Livingston's 1772 New Jersey estate, museum staff found Madeira wine from 1796. The same fortified vintage George Washington and Thomas Jefferson favored at their own tables. This abandoned mansion still held its full contents: antique furniture in the basement, hundreds of unopened wine bottles, even a private gym. Nothing cleared out, nothing sold off, like the owners just walked out midlife. Stuck overnight on a canyon ledge in Utah, Julian Hernandez and his son found a life-saving green backpack with food, water, and tent. But most impressively, it had belonged to 15-year-old Levi Dittman, stranded on the same ledge 45 days earlier. Check out a private German museum, which shut down in 2007 with over 100 vehicles still inside, including a Kaiser's car, Erich Honecker's limousine, and actual MiG-21 fighter jets. Nearly 2 decades later, they're all still there, rusting. Detectorists in Latvia's Courland Pocket, where 200,000 soldiers were encircled during World War II, dug up a rusted PPSH submachine gun, one of the Red Army's signature weapons. Divers near Texel Island spotted a 400-year-old shipwreck, and buried in the sand beside it, a sealed parcel. Inside were a silk dress, a velvet purse, a lice comb, and even a book stamped with King Charles I's coat of arms. Everything pointed to an English noblewoman, possibly Stuart royalty, though her identity and fate remain unknown. Rusted blade, corroded grip, but the shape gives it away instantly. A Wehrmacht officer's dress dagger, pulled from the dirt by a metal detectorist decades after its last owner buckled it onto his belt. Miners at Brazil's Carnaíba mine pulled up a 1.3 meters tall emerald cluster from 200 meters underground, weighing over 272 kilograms. And now it's the second massive find from the same gem-rich site in Bahia. Workers dredging the Thames River in 1857 pulled up an Iron Age bronze shield so thin it never could have survived combat. Historians now believe it was deliberately thrown into the water around 350 to 50 BCE as an offering. The next find in the forest floor, Soviet cartridges, the same 12.7mm diameter as the American 50 BMG, but steel-jacketed rather than copper, which is why decades underground left them thick with rust. In Australia's Pilbara region, crystal hunter Patrick Gunderson pried a massive amethyst point loose from solid rock, the very part of a cluster that would eventually be recognized as Australia's largest amethyst find ever recorded. Buried in a World War II trench, 7 Soviet rifles were found dumped together, at least 4 with serious battle damage and all missing their bolts, likely broken down by a trophy crew. Exploring an abandoned trailer in the woods, urban explorers found a unique fiberglass flying car. And that was exactly the same prop from Woody Allen's 1973 film Sleeper. Bet you didn't expect a movie prop on this list. Comment your favorite movie relic find below. Just off the Seguin Trail near Ontario, an abandoned steam boiler sits exactly where it was left decades ago, a relic of the old Ottawa, Arnprior, and Parry Sound railway line. Construction crews in Cologne, Germany unearthed 3 unexploded World War II bombs during roadwork, triggering the city's largest evacuation since the war itself. Over 20,000 residents cleared before disposal teams moved in. Pulled straight from a Czech stream bed, this corroded Verndl rifle dates back to 1867, already obsolete by World War I, yet still issued to rear echelon troops until 1918. This isn't military surplus, it's the Herkimer Battle Jitney, a fictional armored personnel carrier built from a 1979 Ford truck for the 1999 film Mystery Men, later abandoned in a junkyard. In this forest, a detectorist hauled a whole rusted clamshell case. An AB-252, once packed with 224 tiny SD-1 bombs and dropped over Eastern Front battlefields in 1944. This Navy T-28 Trojan trained pilots for decades. Now it's just a gutted shell parked in the Nevada desert, one of dozens left stripped near an old gold mine. Excavated in Germany with 30 iron plates and intact copper alloy fittings, this 1st century Roman armor survived the catastrophic 980 Battle of Teutoburg Forest, just because its owner didn't last long in battle. This isn't just some drain in the woods. It's the entrance to Corral, the secret bunker where Germany ran its entire U-boat campaign until the Red Army showed up in 1945. Still bolted to the ceiling of a World War I-era German bunker, this hand-cranked ventilation mechanism pumped fresh air into the combat room and stayed in use decades later during World War II. While tracing an underground water system with dye, a family searching for lost Aztec treasure found an obsidian blade fragment in a marsh, likely a 500-year-old piece of a mahacuite, the razor-edged war club used by Aztec warriors. This boat used to fish real water. Now it just sits in the Uzbek desert, one of dozens abandoned when Soviet irrigation projects drained the Aral Sea decades ago. At low tide near Lapu-Lapu City, locals wade out past mangroves to reach this beached yacht. Its multiple decks rusted and hollow, sinking deeper into the sand. Locals say the devil hurled this stone at the church and missed, but in reality, the Rudston monolith predates that church by thousands of years, standing 7.6 meters tall in a Yorkshire graveyard. This isn't your typical forest find. Behind a locked mausoleum door, explorers found a tunnel heading straight underground, lined with coffins just sitting there in the dark. Carved from a single 10-ton block of andesite, the Gate of the Sun in Bolivia's Tiwanaku ruins has puzzled researchers for over 1,500 years, as its symbols are still without a confirmed meaning. Deep in Ural Forest, a discarded stage from the Bark intercontinental ballistic missile now hosts a bird's nest, remnant of a submarine weapon program scrapped in 1998. Digging in his own garden, John Brescia hit metal, then a dashboard, then an entire 1955 to 56 Ford Popular, gray painted and buried so deep it seemed meant to vanish for good. Discovering Lalibella's Church of St. George reveals nothing at first, just rock. Only from above does the sunken cross-shaped structure, carved from solid stone 800 years ago, come into view. Divers exploring the Zenubia's cargo deck found this scantia truck exactly where it landed in 1980, when a ballast malfunction sent the ferry and over 100 lorries to the seabed. Dragging a sand scoop through coastal gravel, a beachcomber pulled up two interlocked wedding rings buried with no owners or story attached. Past the museum's polished display engines, this weed-choked steam locomotive was found at the edge of the Roanoke rail yard, left to rust while its neighbors got restored. When Richmond's Robert E. Lee statue came down in 2021, workers found something unexpected. A lead time capsule sealed in 1887, hidden 6 meters up inside a 680-kilogram granite block. Inside sat a British coin, an 1875 almanac, and a stonemason's letter, but not the famous photo of Lincoln in his coffin that historic records promised. And historians still don't know where that original capsule went. Dozens of arcade machines, including a Sega new UFO catcher crane game, sit stripped and stacked along a Japanese back road, a rare graveyard of Japan's once thriving arcade culture. Straight from The Shining, this once luxurious hotel shuts its doors 3 years ago, yet the electricity still works, and rooms remain fully furnished, right down to made beds and stocked desks. Wading down a river, a mudlark pulled up a black scrying ball, an object once used in divination and meditation, possibly thrown in to cleanse its energy. Dark energy. Crawling down a rabbit hole in a Shropshire farmer's field, explorers found sandstone chambers carved with arches, candle niches, and symbols, linked by legend to the Knights Templar, though historians date them to around 1800. Walking through this empty Brisbane gym, explorers found staff photos still stuck to the walls, gym equipment frozen mid-use, and fresh graffiti scrawled across the stairwell. 80-year-old Dor Wolonitz was hunting for show-and-tell material in Israel's Ramon crater when a striped stone caught his eye. It turned out to be a 6x6 centimeter fragment of a Roman statuette, carved from local phosphorite around the 4th century AD. Archaeologists say it may depict Jupiter or the Nabatean god Zeus Dushara, and surface finds this refined are rare. Two people out walking their dogs stumbled on footprints from the Iron Age, pressed into clay at Lunan Bay, but storm winds hit 89 kilometers an hour and the whole 2,000-year-old site was gone in 2 days. Wedged under a buried rock, a detectorist found matching silver medallions stamped with old Arabic writing, plus a small engraved heart pendant tangled nearby in the soil. That's all we've got for now, but trust us, there's a lot more where that came from. Let us know your favorite find below, smash that like button, and subscribe to keep the discoveries coming.